Kirk Beveridge here, founder of Unleash WD, executive producer of We Supply America, and I am absolutely thrilled that you are joining me here today for our third of 8 consecutive days talking about the importance and the changing role of human resources in distribution. And today, we've got a great one for you. Come on in, let me know that you're here, and kind of set the stage. Let me ask you this question. Are you ready? I mean, are you really ready to help your people fulfill their potential and in turn take your distribution business to the next level? If so, you are absolutely in the right place for the next 20 to 30 minutes, because today we're going to be taking a look at people first. Hold on to those words, people first. Tactics for unlocking employee potential and increasing profit. I'm excited for this one. I'm ready to go, really ready to go, and I'm thankful that you are here. Come on in, everybody. Let me know that you're here. Say hello, and we're going to get started in exactly 2 minutes. Good morning. I'm laughing at myself as I'm getting ready here, seeing you come on in. Thank you, because I'm drinking my Diet Coke, and I don't know if I have enough in there, and I'm drinking, and then so I've got the other full one here. It's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Thank you all so much for being here, and come on in. We've got a good one today. Michael, great to see you, my friend, from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Did I say Shrewsbury right? You know, with that accent? Okay, so Michael, good to see you. Ed Orlet, my friend, how are you? And man, you are looking good. Great, thanks for being here, my friend. Really appreciate it. South Carolina is in the house. Thank you so much. I love it. Terry, thank you for joining us from Fargo. And love it from Maine. So that's got to be Chris. Great to see you. I appreciate you, Chris, so much. Let's see, Bethany, you got Lila to school. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Woody, thanks for being here as well. And you guys keep coming in, and I really appreciate you being here. So I started off by asking, are you ready? Are you ready to help your people fulfill their potential and in turn take your organization to the next level? This conversation of people first, unlocking the employee potential and increasing profit, to me, it's really important and timely and somewhat personal to me. And I'll tell you why. Let me tell you a story. My mentor, my father, was in the mid-'80s, pardon me, I will tell you, the best business motivational speaker of all time. And one of the things that Dad was famous for was his Burger King story. And man, he was dripping sweat and he was animated and he had a story. And his story was this. His story was you never, ever trade off customer satisfaction at the expense of employee satisfaction. And there's a truth to it. You never trade off customer satisfaction at the expense of employee satisfaction. And he had this story, man, and he would talk about getting the kids, as the manager of the restaurant, getting the kids to push the Whopper button. And if you couldn't get the kids to push the Whopper button so that the Whopper was warm and hot when it was delivered, if you can't get the kid to push the Whopper button, what would he say? He'd say, fire him. Get rid of him. You never, he said, trade off customer satisfaction for employee satisfaction. And, profit over people. Maybe that was the mindset in the past. And then all of a sudden, man, for the last 2 summers, I find myself in an RV with a great eagle on the side, and we supply America. And for the last 2 summers, as you know, we've been out championing the noble calling of distribution, 31,000 miles from sea to shining sea, 59 different distributors, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of your employees that I've got to meet on the job, where they work, 6:30 in the morning, meeting the drivers on the receiving docks before they go out and make the deliveries of the product. You know that story. And I saw a different story than what my dad was talking about, pushing those buttons of the Whopper button. And I got to meet people, and I got to learn lessons and see things from a new lens that brings us to today and today's topic of people first. I got to tell you, one of the individuals I met that just stopped me in my tracks, got me to really think deeply and say, Dirk, you need to think deeper here. You need to help the industry. You need to help distributors think more deeply about this topic. Was a young man, 27 years old, Matt Daniel, down in Greenville, South Carolina, a branch manager for Eastern Industrial. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm standing there at the reception desk, the video crews behind us, and I'm asking Matt about his role at Eastern Industrial, managing at 27 years of age. Just even think about that. A decade ago, there was no way that a 27-year-old could be managing a branch. Am I right? You had to put in your time. But no, not at Eastern Industrial. So 27-year-old Matt Daniel is talking to me about the culture of the organization. And again, he stopped me in my tracks. Would you do me a favor? Just take a look at this minute and a half clip, dialogue, conversation between Matt and I at Eastern Industrial. Here you go.
I used to work in retail for a $1 billion company.
Okay.
And, I was in a business to where I was a number, not a name. When I came here, it was just totally different than what I was used to. I'd been with that company for 4.5 years.
Wow.
And so to come here where, everybody's family. A lot of my people that I brought here were in broken cultures at the companies that they were in. So it's just a breath of fresh air when you walk in the door.
What's the difference between a broken culture that some of your friends have been in and the Eastern culture?
Profit over people instead of people over profit. I think that's at the simplest terms, that's how I would describe it. I mean, when you think about you take care of your people and then the people take care of your customers, when you're focused on taking care of the customers only and not really the people that are doing that, that are in that group, I think that's where you start seeing some of the issues.
Amazing, right? I mean, 27 years old and the wisdom there and the contradiction to what I was taught by my mentor, and who my mentor taught thousands and tens of thousands of individuals. Times change. People first. And so what I learned from Matt is that when you put people first, right, profit follows. We'll talk more about that. So as I'm going across the country, talking to the Matts of the world, thinking about this, people first, what does it mean? I'm seeing examples, but I know we got to drill a little bit deeper. So last year, what we wanted to do is we wanted to explore these changes deeper. So with our new Future of Distribution reports, we set out to explore leadership and culture. And coming off of We Supply America, I had two premises, season one. I had two premises. Number one, my premise was that leadership is changing more rapidly than most of us realize. And the second premise I had was that humanity is going to play a larger role in leadership and in cultures going forward. So we set out to prove and disprove those premises. And so one of the questions we asked last spring was, to what degree do you believe the human element is going to play an important role in leadership in a post-pandemic world? And an amazing 93% of us believe that humanity is going to play a larger role in leadership and in cultures going forward. And that's what I saw on the We Supply America tour. And it ties into what Matt said, unbroken cultures, right? Put humanity first, put people first. And that's hard for some people to get a grip of. People over profit versus profit over people. And when I went across the country and I tried to make sense of what is this people first culture? What is this humanity that we're talking about? What I saw were cultures. What I saw were organizations. What I saw were leaders who built seven principles. And they're not even principles. Dirk, why's your mind going blank right now? 7 aspects of helping people fulfill their potential. And by the way, there's more. Tomorrow, by the way, come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We're going to talk about how employee value propositions are and are needing to change going forward. And we're going to talk about the need to meet people where they are at. That's tomorrow. So the story continues. But for today, here are 7 aspects if we want to help people fulfill their potential. People first. What I see in these cultures is we must think about, how are we ensuring the individuals are feeling dignity in who they are and the jobs they do? From the CEO to the administrators, to the janitors, everybody in between. There's dignity in the job. They must feel belonging and connection. I guarantee you, man, when that Burger King manager was saying, push the Whopper button, they weren't feeling dignity in the job. They didn't feel like they belonged to anything or connection to a purpose. There's got to be commitment, this two-way commitment. There's got to be a bond between the individual and individuals and the company and the mission. And they must feel value in the job that they do. And we must recognize the value in the individuals. And dare I say, I saw a lot of it on the We Supply America tour. And I think we could talk about love in business. People first is truly something that we in our businesses must ensure that we are rethinking and bringing to the org. Does this make sense to you guys? I'd love your comments. I'd really love your comments in the comments as you're watching this. Is it making sense to you? What does make sense? What doesn't make sense? Let me know. And so, people first, right? And what we find is this takes an intentionality. It needs to be built into the strategy of the organization. We're going to be coming out with the second Future of Distribution report on March 1st or thereabouts. And the numbers are staggering. It's somewhere in the mid 80s. Let's say 85% of leaders in distributions believe that human resources in distribution must become more strategic. Historically, it's been administrative focused, it's been compliance focused, if you will, and we must become more strategic, right? And this people first is really part of that human resources becoming more strategic in an organization. Now, Matt Daniels, I just showed you the clip, the conversation I had with him. Sometime after that, after I got back, I had a chance to have Kip Miller, the CEO, owner of Eastern Industrial, and his daughter, Megan Owen, who is the Chief Strategy Officer, on a webinar that we did with my partner in 4. And Will Quinn, good morning, my friend. Thank you for being here. In 4 has just been a great partner of ours, and we really appreciate that. But I had a chance to talk with Kip Miller and Megan Owen about this people first strategy and bringing it into the organization strategically and why they do it and what it means to the organization and the people. And just take a listen to this 1.5-minute clip of Megan, please. Yeah, I love it. And Megan, I also loved what he talked about was, he had worked for $1 billion retailer and so many people, right, that come to Eastern come from a broken culture to the culture of Eastern. And I loved when I asked him, what does that mean? Without hesitation, right? He defined it as, profit over people being the broken culture versus the culture at Eastern of people over profit. Can you just shed light on that for us, Megan, about this people over profit? Because that's hard to swallow for a lot of people, I think. But I know profit is also important. We talked about that, but I just share that nuance with us, if you don't mind, from your perspective, Megan.
So at the end of the day, without our people, we're not going to have profit.
No.
And I think we want to, like I said in the video, we want to show that in action. A lot of the people who work around me, I want them to realize, like, hey, I realize that you have a family outside of this building. I realize that life goes on and you have a personal life. And so it's, I think a lot of times companies today will say that they care about you, but they don't show you that with their actions. And so that's what Eastern is really trying to do, is come alongside people and help them to be better people today than they were yesterday, and better tomorrow than they are today. And that's what brings me joy.
Love it. Noble indeed. Noble. Isn't that something, right? She's driven as an individual, as a leader herself. And by the way, they build it in the strategy of their business, right? To help people become better versions of themselves. And when you do that, what follows? When you do that, what follows? Profit. Yeah, absolutely. Profit follows that people first strategy. Why? There's at least 5. I mean, from a business, from a leadership perspective, from a getting work done perspective, there's at least 5 outcomes of that people first. Number 1, you'll find that the engagement and motivation of your people significantly increases when they understand that you have their best interest at heart, when you see them as a person, when you see them as a human being. Number 2, employee retention. Look, we're all dealing with how do we retain individuals in this environment? You put people first and you'll find the retention increases. Number 3, yes, we need performance and productivity. Let me ask you something. Do you think your people want to do what you want them to do? Of course they do. Of course. I mean, they don't wake up every day. They don't wake up when they were kids saying, man, I hate management. I hate management. I hate management. They don't do that. In years past, in those organizations that put profit over people only, right? Push the whopper button. In those environments, that's where we have the battle, because they don't see that we have their best interests at heart. They want to do what you want to do, but they need to see that you have their best interest. And when they do know that inherently, the dignity, the respect, the value, those things we've talked about, helping them achieve their potential, productivity and performance always follows. Number 4, customer satisfaction. They are on board. They are part of the team to ensure that your customers are in fact satisfied. And then number 5, what we find is innovation and creativity absolutely increases as well in that people first strategy. So really fantastic thinking from what I've learned on that We Supply America tour. Let me just say hi to a couple people. Tom, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Christy, thanks for being here. Jeffrey Gray, thank you for being here. And yes, Mark Chagrin is an amazing example, right, of this people first strategy. So thanks for pinging me about that over at Bender. I mean, Mark Chagrin at Bender is all about helping people fulfill their potential, become better versions of themselves through their purpose meetings on Friday and everything else that they do. So thank you. So when we're able to flip the switch, and as Megan said, not just talk about this people centricity, but to truly put it into action, and it becomes part of our culture, part of our business strategy. By the way, we're going to talk about this in detail. I'm going to end at our April 27th and 28th Human Resources Summit, where we've got 4 phenomenal CEOs who I'm going to put on stage talking about why and how they have implemented a people first strategy. You're going to learn from Nick Porter. You're going to learn from Scott Larson of Gustav A. Larson. You're going to learn from J.D. Ewing, the CEO of COE Distributors. You're going to learn from somebody outside that I got to introduce you to. I'll get back to that in a second. Craig Poole's his name, but I got to tell you about him. But when you do this, when you sit down and you rethink, like Megan said, are we just giving lip service to our people? Are we just giving lip service to how we structure our HR programs and systems? Is it really profit driving everything versus people? When we really jump through those obstacles, goodness happens. Amazingness happens. Profitability happens. And I think one of the best examples that I've been able to share over the last 2 years is at my stop at Porter Pipe, when I had a chance to meet, when I had a chance to meet Harold, 83-year-old long-term employee of Porter Pipe. And when you think about engagement and motivation, when you think about retention of employee, when you think about performance and productivity, when you think about customer satisfaction, when you think about innovation and creativity as a result of this people first, as a result of this family type culture, what we'll talk about tomorrow, meeting people where they are at, amazingness happens. Take a look at this 2-minute conversation I had with Harold at Porter Pipe.
I started here in '93, and there was about 12 or 15 employees. Now we're over 220,
Amazing.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
I've never worked for a boss or a company that treats their employees as well as the Porter boys do.
Yeah.
I mean, they treat me better than any boss I've ever had, including myself when I had my own business for 20 years now. How can you beat that?
I don't think you can beat that.
No,
so what is it? I mean, what is it that the Porter boys do, right?
They make
you
us
say
all
that?
feel like we're family.
Yeah.
Every one of us. There's nothing I wouldn't do for any of the Porters.
That's amazing.
Or any of the employees here. And all these people out here,
Yeah.
they all look at me like I'm a friend and a mentor and a grandpa,
Yeah.
a dad.
Yeah.
And I treat them with respect, like
Yeah.
they're a son or a daughter.
Yeah.
And it works out well.
Yeah. If you had to sum up your 29 years at Porter Pipe, what would be the 1 or 2 words you'd use to sum it up?
The greatest experience I've ever had. It's like going to a hobby. It's like going to a playpen. I have fun and they pay me to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how can you beat that?
You can't beat it.
No.
You can't beat it.
I would do it for nothing, just to be here.
You know you're on camera.
I don't care. I don't care. I've told them that before.
Yeah.
You know, I says, this is my home away from home. Everybody gets along,
Yeah.
which is kind of unusual.
Yeah.
You know, we get that many
No, right?
people, there's going to be differences of opinion and so forth.
Yeah.
But I love it here. You look around, and we did this back in '05. I ramrodded that, put it together, and they dedicated this building to me, and I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
It was an honor, really.
We're honored to have you, Harold. We really are. We're blessed.
I love it here. That's all I can say.
love you.
Harold, thank you. And Michelle, I agree with you. I love the conversation with Harold. And I'm going to keep showing the conversation with Harold because it's so important and it's absolutely so meaningful, and the lessons in that as well, right? People first. There is absolutely an inflection point, would you agree with me, taking place in the importance and strategic role of human resources in distribution. People first is one of those strategic shifts that is absolutely taking place. And this is why I'm absolutely thrilled, I'm honored, where last week we introduced the first human resources summits for human resources professionals and executive leadership in distribution companies. This is going to be held on April 27th and 28th down in Nashville, Tennessee. Bethany Hepler, our VP of Design, is absolutely helping us design an amazing experience for the 50. This is going to be an intimate gathering, 50 individuals, an intimate gathering, an important conversation in terms of this strategic shift that is taking place in human resources throughout distribution. And you can get all the details. You see the URL there. I really encourage you to go there to www.events.unleashwd.com/human resources summit. Now, let me just quickly tell you about this, because I'd really encourage you, if this is resonating with you, to join and register today. Let me just tell you the organizations. I mean, we'll talk about the speakers. But let me tell you about the organizations that have already registered that you're going to have a chance to collaborate with. We've got Porter Pipe, From Supply, Airy Materials, Red Ball Oxygen, Jekyll Distributors, Equipment Controls, Bosch Art, Bender, Marsh Electronics, DSG, Leonard Syrup, Torco, First Supply, COE Distributors, Gustav A. Larson, Robert Weed, and the list goes on and on and on. And relative to this people first topic, let me tell you about the session that we have planned around this. We've curated 4 amazing CEOs, 3 from distribution, 1 from outside that I need to introduce you to. Nick Porter, CEO of Porter Pipe. You have to meet Nick and you have to learn from Nick. You need to see his passion for what he's created, what they have created. What I just showed you with Harold there. You need to see him. He's going to be on stage on this panel discussion about people first. You need to meet Scott Larson, the CEO of Gustav A. Larson, who leads through deep values. And because he puts people first, he empowers the people to make decisions and to be innovative and creative. And it truly is not only inspiring, but the lessons you're going to take away is truly, truly awesome. And then you're going to meet J.D. Ewing up on that stage. People first, that session on people first as a strategy in our organizations. And you're going to meet J.D. Ewing, who is the CEO of COE Distributing. And I still have in my mind as I'm walking the warehouse with him. And I'm asking him about his people. And I remember him tearing up because of the commitment that he has to his people. And you're going to learn the lessons from J.D. Ewing as well. And then, guys, I love Nick and I love Scott and I love J.D. I love them. But you got to meet Craig Poole, the 4th person on this panel that I'm putting on. And Craig is not from distribution, but I'm bringing him in. Craig is the president of Reading Hospitality. When I travel the world, I'll stay in whatever hotel I'm told to stay in, except for when I go to Reading, Pennsylvania. I insist that I stay at the Doubletree Hotel, and that's the hotel that Craig Poole is the president of, the general manager of, and his people strategy is absolutely inspiring, and the lessons we can lift and shift from what he does into our organizations. I tell you, you have to meet Craig Poole as well. So our summit, the first summit for human resources, is April 27th and 28th in Nashville. I'll put the URL up again, but when you go to that website, you can find out all the details. It's there. The story tomorrow, what I'll do, you guys here, let me come back. tomorrow what I'll do is I'll tell you about the story that we are curating, because this is going to be a 2-day summit with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you're going to leave with new ideas, new action items, new thoughts for evolving your strategy in HR to truly become that strategic partner with executive management. All right. But everything is there for you at www.events.unleashwd.com, HR Summit. You got it? Take a screenshot of it. Go there today and register today. We've got an amazing 2-day. Let me just even give you the titles of the individuals who have already registered. We've got Senior VPs of Human Resources, Presidents, COOs, HR Generalists, HR Directors, Senior Vice President of Finance and Human Resources. We've got HR Supervisors, VP of Human Resources, CEOs, and owners there as well. If you fit in that and you're thinking about, taking that human resources strategy to the next level, that, by the way, today's employees and marketplace and customers are demanding that we really think through and deeper, I really encourage you to be there. So come with us tomorrow. Come back with us tomorrow at 9:00 Central. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going to take a look at the need for evolving strategically our employee value propositions. But for now, go back and continue to think about this strategic imperative of people first. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thanks.